shoot! Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Coming to you today, because you may have noticed, we missed last week. So last week my PC died on me and it needed to have a quick rebuild and a new hard drive put into it. So apologies about not being here last week. I know you missed me, I know you did, I know it. And what can I say? Just when you've got fans, you need to be there for your fans. No, but seriously, so the PC is all fixed now and hopefully should be back to normal, making a video every week with an added extra possibly. So the UK has just been plummeted back into a second lockdown, and to help to secure some jobs at the studio that I work at, I've been put on furlough for 4 weeks, which means I'll be at home and potentially might be able to do 2 videos a week, so watch this space. But what we are here today to look at is the Nitecore MH12 version 2. Huge thank you. Why do I keep saying thank out? It's a shout out and it's a thank you, but I'll leave this in this time. So a huge thank you to Manventure for sending this to me. There are some links in the description below so you can find out all about Manventure, how to find their shop and all of their social media links. But they got in touch with me and they asked if this is something that I'd be interested in testing. And to first look at it, it's not your standard EDC torch. If you look, you know, it's quite large, but it kind of got me thinking. I do like to push the limits of the stuff that I do as far as EDC and off-body EDC. I've also got a few friends that are in the police here in the UK, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, I'm actually genuinely really interested in this to see how it would work for EDC. I've also lent this to a police officer friend of mine, and I've got some feedback from him as to how useful it was. I was trying to see if I could borrow some of his equipment, but unfortunately because of the lockdown it's meant that I can't use his equipment, purely because I'm not allowed to meet up with him, unfortunately. But for now I'll turn the camera around. While I'm doing that, if you like this video, hit the like button. If this is your first time here, if you've been here many times before, then please feel free to hit that subscribe button and use the bell notification so you'll get everything that is available as soon as it's available. For now, let's have a look at this and let's check out the features of this. Okay, so just to get some technical specifications out first, this is the version 2. However, before this, if memory suits, there were actually 3 versions. There was the version 1, and then there were 2 iterative versions that succeeded. I am struggling to talk today. That succeeded the version 1 to get to this. So there's been a lot of design put into this before it's gone from version 1 to version 2. As far as specifications, from the tip to the end, it is 158mm or 6.22 inches. The head diameter is 25.4mm, which is roughly an inch. The tube diameter as it goes down, again, is the same, that's 24.5mm. The tail diameter, it does come out just a little bit, which gives it an extra little bit of grip in your hand so that it doesn't slide out. That measures 27.2mm or 1.07 inches, and it weighs, it's actually quite a good weight. It's 84 grams, which is near as damn it 3 ounces. But it does feel really good in the hand. It could be heavier, but because it's made from aluminium, that's helped to reduce the weight. It's made from aerospace, NASA graded, probably not NASA graded, but you know what I mean. A lot of these flashlights nowadays are made from that similar material. The actual output from this maximum is 1200 lumens, which I think we're in a situation where a lot of companies that are making flashlights, they seem to be in this race to go, yeah, we've got 10,000 lumens or we've got 3,000 lumens, which would be less than 10,000, but you know what I mean. For this flashlight, I genuinely think that less is more. The way that this produces light and the cone and the spread that you get from this, it's perfect. And plus, the battery that's inside here is a which one is it now? It's the 21700 battery. So what you're getting is a very high capacity battery, but then you're also getting a lower output than you get with some of those 2,000 or 3,000 lights. So it lasts for considerably longer as well. So on the end here, as I'm sure you could probably expect, there is a screw cap, and out comes, there is your 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You can put other batteries into this. If you have some spare 18650 batteries lying around, you can put those in. What you get in the box is you get this small adapter, so an 18650 battery will be able to fit into there, and then this whole case goes in so that it will fit. With that though, it does have some intelligent circuitry in here to make sure that it still outputs at 1200 lumens. It just means that it will last a little bit less time. If I remember rightly, I think that's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, so it'll last, say, 4/5 of the time of the 5,000 milliamp hour battery. There you go, that's quick maths all in one. But what you can also do is, if you've got some CR123 batteries as well, you can stack 2 of those in here. Oh, I think we're just going out of focus there for a second, haven't we? And you can slide those in and they will all work as well. So it gives you quite a lot of options as far as batteries and the capacity and the different types of batteries that you can put in there if you choose to carry spare batteries. As far as charging, what you also get in the box is a USB Type-C charger. Now, this is one of the massive advantages of this. So USB Type-C opens up a lot more options for manufacturers when it comes to charging. A lot of intelligence can be put into this charging port, which they have done to make sure that this fast charges perfectly, and you've also not got the worry about being able to put it in the wrong way round. There is also some water resistance, which I'll show you now. This is my first water test. As you can see, flashlight's turned on, it'll submerge, it stays turned on. The little grommet here that covers the charging port works exceptionally well. But if you were curious, let's open this up with my nan's best china. You know, pouring the water into the charging port. Charging port is wide open, as you can see, and it still functions perfectly. So definitely water resistant. Now, I'm not going to lie, I watched somebody else do that test first, mainly because I was so worried that if I did it and it didn't work, that I'd have to phone up Manventure and say, I'm ever so sorry, I've got the flashlight wet. The plug, when it goes in, it's actually a bit of a faff to get in, which is a good thing in my eyes, purely because you know that it is nice and watertight. Some other details about the flashlight itself, because I know one of the things that you'll all want to know as far as how it works with, or at least the length of which each of the different modes will work. So what you have is you have 2 buttons for operation here. You have the main button here at the end, which turns the flashlight on and off, and then you have a mode button here at the front. This mode button, if I am going to say anything, is actually a little difficult to find. There's been a few situations where I've turned it around and I've been pressing the charging port, or at least the rubber on the charging port here at the back, which is I mean, it's not a faff. It's not something that I've been, realised and then I've turned it around. But it's just, I have found sometimes that it's just a little bit tricky to find in the dark, but you know, you find it. So you turn it on, and then what you have is your mode button then cycles through. See, I've lost it already, there we go. Your mode button then cycles through the lumens that come out of that. So you have a low light mode, which real I suppose is the ultra low, then you have a low, then you have a mid, and then you have the high. So let's go back around. The ultra light, which is the low mode, is 1 lumen, and with that you'll get up to 1500 hours. The next one up, when you click on the next on the mode button, is 55 lumens. So this is their low mode. 55 lumens gives you 46 hours worth of light from a full charge. Click again goes up to mid mode, which is 300 lumens and will give you 8 hours. And then you click again and then you get high, which is 1200 lumens, which will give you approximately 3 hours and 45 minutes. Now I've been out, I've tested this, and I can say that in those modes I've been getting roughly that from a full charge. Some of the lower ones, I mean, I've not had it on 1 lumen for 1500 hours, but I'll take it that the high and the mid volumes, or at least lengths, because they are reasonably accurate, that, you know, I'll take it for granted that they work. It is IP68 rated for dust and water, which also means that you can submerge it in up to 2 meters worth of water, and you can drop it from up to 1 meters in height. Obviously, you know, we don't want to drop flashlights, do we? Because that would be daft. There are some extra modes on here, so when it's on, oh, I had it on, didn't I? Let's put it back in there. If you keep your finger down on the mode button, you'll notice that it then goes into strobe mode. If you press it again, it turns off. Now there are 3 special modes on this. The first one is strobe, then you've got beacon, and then you've got SAS. I hope I've got those in the right order, but with those it comes down to how long you keep your finger on the button. And then when you come off them, you can't go on to the next one. You have to then go back to a normal mode to then be able to cycle through to get the next variant of the strobe or special mode. So here we have it in just normal mode. Keep my finger down on it, you've got strobe, then you've got beacon, and then eventually it'll go on to SOS, and then it will then turn off. There is memory on this, so at the moment this is in the normal day-to-day mode. So if I put this on to mid, turn it off, turn it back on again, it will go back onto mid. But there is also a tactical version on this, as this torch is predominantly aimed towards the police, towards security, things like that. It's important that, you know, you can get to a certain mode faster. I've always kept it on daily mode, mainly because it's just been used as a daily torch or flashlight. But what you do is, so you keep your finger on the mode select and then press down the tail cap, and then hold that there for about 5 seconds, and hopefully you'll see in a second that the mode button there is flashing blue. So I'll take that off, and then that puts that now into tactical mode. What tactical mode does for you is it will always turn on, no matter what you turn it off at, it will always turn on high. So I can still cycle through the other modes, I'll turn it off, turn it back on again, and it comes back in to a high mode. So if you're in some law enforcement, if you're in security, and you want to make sure that you don't have to worry about whichever mode that it's in, if you're in a pinch and you need to, and you know, maybe startle somebody with a light, then you can keep it on that. You can cycle through some other modes if you need to, and then, you know, reholster it. But then when you pull it back out again, it puts it back into its highest mode. What it also does in this mode as well, or also to point out, is the only memory that it will save on this is whether it is in normal mode or whether it is in your strobe mode. So if I put this onto strobe mode now and then turn it off, when I turn it back on again, it'll turn it back into strobe mode. Turn it off, you know, and it's back into strobe mode until I press on the function button, and then it will put it back into a normal mode. You do get a bit of heat from it, you know, I've been using it on and off there, but as far as heat is concerned, I think this flashlight is very good at dissipating the heat. You have some channels here on each side that are kind of used as a heat sink, which it does it very well. On the front you have the Cree LED in there. It's a single Cree XPL2 version 2 LED, and there is some scratch resistant coating on the oh I moved it then. There is some scratch resistant coating on the lens as well. It doesn't have any sort of slider on there so that you can fine tune where that cone opens out or closes, but I think for this it's actually fine without that. So if I want to put it back into daily mode, keep my finger down on the mode button or the function button, turn it on, and then eventually you'll see in a minute that it will flash and it will go back. There you go, if you can see there. Turn it off. And what it actually first does is when you've done that, to prove that it has been done, the flashlight turns on. It's just a feature to show that it's acknowledged that that's worked, rather than you thinking, oh, did that work or not. Hopefully, as you can see now, if I put that down into mid, turn it off, turn it back on again, it's in mid as well, and stays in that. Some of the other things that you get in the box as well, just to finish off, you get the usual, you know, there's a lanyard in there, there is a few O-rings, there is an extra tail cap button, just in case, you know, having used this a lot, these do wear down, and what Nitecore have been good enough is they've been able to put an extra one of those in there just for longevity. And you also get a pocket clip. Now, a lot of the other attachments that you can get for these sort of tactical lights, I know I've mentioned it does come with this holster, but if you choose to use one of the night light rings as well, that you put your finger in so that you can pull it out and get a better grip, it also fits this and fits snugly. I've not tested it myself, but I've seen in a few other reviews that they work as well. Now, this holster is one of the things that I've really appreciated about this light, purely because when it's in there and it's locked tight. It has two depressions each on each side, and then on the flashlight you've got a little bit of knurling here, and then it flares out just a little bit. You've got a almost like a hex bolt around it, and when that's in there, it locks in tight. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I've been testing this out a lot on these bags here, and I've had it in a few different setups. I've had it so that it's vertical and you can pull it out at the bottom, or I suppose that would be the opposite way, I guess. I don't know, whichever. But then I've also had it this way. I've also had it like this on a few waist packs that I've been using, and it's very easy to pull it out, but also when it's in there, it's nice and secure. I've done shake tests on this on carpet because I'd hate to drop it, but it works really well. What I've realised that I've left inside is these 4 notches here. These notches, you get extra little grommets that you can pass through here. So if you only have a 1-inch belt, you can put those in to make sure that it doesn't slide on your belt. Or if you have a setup maybe where you've got some links in some traditional molly, you can put it in between those, and again that stops it from sliding around as well. I think this has actually been very, very well thought out. I often ask if there's anything that I'd change, and I suppose this is a good point to say no. The flashlight, absolutely nothing that I would change about this flashlight. I genuinely think that this is a very, very, very good flashlight. If I was to be super picky, and this really is picky, this is stupid picky, all that I'd do is, you know how sometimes you can have these where it just has an extra little bit that comes down to lock it in there. All I would do is to see if there was any way that you could get this to retain within this here. I don't think I have any worries that this would come out, but I've not been running, I've not been, you know, I'm not a police officer, so I've not been any tussles with this. That it's been knocked around a lot. But if it was to come open to slip out, I think if there was any sort of way that you could just push something in to then be able to release that, to them to be able to take it off, then that would be great. Nitecore, if you're watching, if you could do that, you don't even have to change this. It might just be something that you adapt on this to do that. But again, I'm being super picky there. I genuinely think, as far as flashlights go, that this is an amazing flashlight. So one of the main feedbacks that I got from my friend that's in the police force is mainly around this holster. The flashlight itself, he said, is brilliant. So he said being able to use the tail cap is great. the extended length that you get being able to hold it up keeps it a little bit further away from your eyes so that you don't get dazzled by that if you are moving it around. Having something not necessarily for him to be able to strike with, but knowing that if it fell down, it wouldn't, you know, there's often times when he has to wrestle somebody to the ground, it's not going to land on the glass at the end, or if it did land end down, especially because it has this tactical bezel with the 3 ridges on there, even if there are small stones or chippings on the floor, they're not going to get in contact with that crystal at the front to break it. So he says the length's just perfect. But mainly with the length, when you're wearing gloves in the winter, he's noticed that now it's getting colder and he's starting to wear more gloves. Having that extra length here to be able to get some purchase whilst pulling it out is a massive help. The torch that he uses, or the flashlight he uses at the moment, I forget which one it was, it's one of the Olight ones, which he says is very good, but it's just maybe so, say, 3 centimeters shorter than this one, so when he's trying to get it, it's a little bit tricky to get it. It fits perfectly in his hand and he can get that tail cap button. He said, but trying to get it quickly out of something when he needs to is a little bit of a fumble. So having something that's just that extra length would work perfectly as well. He did also mention that the length of this would work perfectly, and you'll have to apologise me if I say this wrong. Is it called a Kubaton or Kubaton, or however it's pronounced? There's certain restraints that, you know, again, whether you're skilled in how to use these, but with a flashlight this length, it works perfectly for some of those restraints, whether they're used or not. He doesn't personally use them. He uses other techniques. But however, he does know people that would find this perfect for those lengths. But mainly, it's a small holster that he's found that has been brilliant, and not necessarily a lifesaver, but being able to have this, whether it's on his chest and he can pull it up. He actually found that having it face down was a lot easier to pull out, or whether he's had it on his belt. So being able to change whichever way you want to put this, he's used it in instances where it's been like that, so he can pull it out and then be able to get it up to eye height if it's needed to be able to find people. Also, the fact that you have the daytime mode and you have the tactical mode, a lot of torches, because they have that memory on there, it will always bring up whichever mode you were in last. Whereas with the tactical mode on this, not having to worry about whichever mode or whichever intensity of light there was before, to be able to pull this up knowing that it's always going to be in its high mode, has also worked for him as well whilst he's been out using this flashlight as well. He's definitely interested in this. He's actually got a link from me so he can get one of these, and he's said that it's definitely a step up over the one that he had. He actually really enjoyed the one that he had, and he didn't realise that these features were features that he's missing. But I think it's one of those things where you don't generally know until you've tried something else, and hopefully this is the style of review that will help you to make that opinion as to whether this would suit you over whichever flashlight you're currently using. So whether you're in the police, whether you work security, I think even if you're in the forces as well, to be able to have something on a chest setup, or even no, I dropped it then, that'd have been bad, or even on a belt setup, to be able to easily deploy and use a light like this, I think would be perfect too. Now, I don't have any experience in firearms, but you know, I see that kind of that setup. I imagine that this would work perfectly with that. For those same reasons, it's something that is easy to grab, and it has a really nice tail click so that you can turn it on and you can use it however you choose to use it. There is a little bit of ignorance from me there, just mainly because I'm not firearms trained, so this is an assumption, but hopefully it's a semi-educated assumption. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Right, okay, so I've mentioned this before, but a huge thank you to Manventure for sending this to me. There are links in the description below so that you can find out more about this flashlight and more about Manventure if you want to get one of these as well. There's also some links for me there as well. There's some affiliate links if you choose to use those affiliate links. Any money that you pay for those, I get a small kickback, which helps my channel. Also a huge thank you. This is a strange one. Somebody has anonymously donated me $30. They put it into my PayPal account. Now obviously I can see their details that they put it in, but they've said that they'd like to stay anonymous. I have asked them if I can use their name and they've said yes, that's fine. So for now I'd like to say a massive thank you to Juan for putting those $30 into my account. It's not something that I've ever asked for in the past, so I appreciate that, and I'd like to thank you publicly here for that. I know I've sent you lots of emails telling you how grateful I am, but it's something that I've never asked for in the past, and it's something that I genuinely do appreciate, so huge thank you for that. Well, I can't thank you enough, and I can guarantee that those $30 will get ploughed straight back into the channel through reviewing more gear in the future. If you're after some links for me, you can search for me at Moorlander_EDC at Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Moorlander EDC. I tend to be on Instagram more than I am on Facebook. So yeah, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to start sharing my content, that would be absolutely amazing. That means that my content gets out to see even more people, and that would be awesome. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.